Welcome back to Lawyers and Libations with Rebecca and Sarah.
Hello.
We're still plowing through the summer. It's still fucking scorching hot.
So hot. School's starting, though.
School is starting back, which will give us some normalcy to our lives instead of running around everywhere to 3 different locations.
Well, I made the mistake. I will have all 3 kids in different locations. So, wow.
You need an au pair. Immediately,
I know,
you need an au pair with a vehicle.
We've been looking. You know, when we moved, we got this house that had a kind of a large guest room in the basement, thinking that our parents would come visit. I mean, they really don't come visit that much. So I'm like, maybe we should just have an au pair.
Yeah, well,
let somebody use that room.
You absolutely need to do that. For anyone who's considering getting an au pair or a live-in nanny, if you don't want to use the French word, if it sounds too hoity-toity, that works too. But there are various companies that you can use, and they're already pre-vetted, pre-screened. That's where I got my lovely person who lives with me, Victoria, who, God, is like another daughter to me, and I don't know, maybe Jesus in a 26-year-old female's body. She's amazing and helps me with Adeline and getting her from point A to point B, and you desperately need that.
No, I know. Well, and I adore Victoria as well. She's so great, and my kids all learn Spanish in this dual immersion program, and Ryan and I don't speak Spanish, or at least not fluently by any stretch. So we're kind of like, maybe we get a Spanish au pair, and then that way the kids will be speaking Spanish at home.
Absolutely. So I speak Spanish to Victoria, Victoria speaks English to me, and then I translate to Adeline and make her repeat what I just said.
Brilliant. I mean, because what a gift as a child, and then as a particularly young adult when you're out looking for jobs and trying to figure out what to do. If you can speak Spanish and English,
you're killing it.
It's like unlimited opportunities.
Yeah, no, I agree. A lot of the schools around us, so they were in the immersion program. There's one in my elementary school little area. They do a German immersion program. Like,
good if you want to go into automotives.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
if you want to move to Europe,
to Germany,
Switzerland as well.
But do they speak German there?
In Switzerland, yeah.
I don't know.
They do.
I mean, I've never been to Europe, so
okay, we're getting to Europe. You're going with me as soon as possible. But speaking of vacations to Europe, well, I went on an extended family vacation to Europe this year. Have you gone on any extended?
We
vacations?
did. We just, I guess, recently got back from our lake vacation.
How many people were there?
The 5 of us, in-laws, so 2 more, brother-in-law and his girlfriend. Was it 9, and then 4 more. So like 13.
Good grief!
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
And how long were you there?
10 days.
That's a long trip with 13 family members. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I did that long with 11. I was one of 11, and I really love my family, and they're precious, but good grief.
You know, and it brings up kind of like an interesting question or thought, like what is the kind of magic
time
number
limit
of days to be with extended family?
3.
Long weekend.
Definitely.
Different sleeping quarters.
Definitely 3. You've got the first day, everybody's kind of excited to see each other. Second day, you're like running errands or doing whatever you need to do. Third day, you're like, oh, it's so sad. We've got to leave tomorrow. And then you're fucking out.
I think it does leave everybody wanting more.
Yes.
Instead of wanting less.
And wanting more therapy if you are there for 10 to 12 days.
No, my therapist gave me some good coping mechanisms. So I ran every day. I did yoga almost every day, and I didn't drink wine. I only drank tequila sodas, but only.
I quit drinking. I mean, wine. I
just drank tequila instead. It was totally fine.
Substitution success.
So I didn't have any hangovers because I was drinking tequila.
Okay.
So no sugar. But I did catch myself. I was getting a little bamboozled. I thought I might get into a fight with somebody outside of my extended family one day. And I could just feel the rage building up. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go outside and do yoga. And it started pouring down rain. And so I ended up moving it inside, and I just kept doing it. I felt so much better. I came out afterward and I was like, I'm so glad I did yoga.
Yes.
I just needed that
You need
breather.
to set your boundaries, and you need to do breaks. That is key for your mental health if you are doing any extended vacations with extended families over the summer. It's rough.
It's so rough. But I didn't even tell you this. I just remembered so I kind of picked running back up while I was up there because my goal was to run 3 miles a day. Some days I ran more than that, some I did not. But the second to last day, I was running back. There was like a canal on the backside of the lake that you cross over, and that's how you know you're at 1.5 miles. And I was on the way back. There was a bear coming up on the road at the same time. And there are bears, like bear stuff all over the Northwoods, but I've never actually seen one outside of the zoo up there.
Was it a black bear?
It was a black bear.
Okay. At least it wasn't a grizzly. That's helpful.
Oh, yeah. No, I'd die. But so this black bear is like coming up on one side and he sees me and literally his face, he was like, ah, and he ran away. And so
he ran from you?
Yeah, he ran back into the woods.
Cute.
And he wasn't that big, so I was nervous it was a cub.
Oh, Jesus.
And so then I was like, oh my God, the mama bear is going to kill me. So like I sprinted past where I saw the bear and there was a big hill right after it. So I sprinted backward up the hill.
Backward?
Yeah, because I just wanted to see like if the mom was going to come. I wanted to be
fall down.
But that run was my fastest run. I beat my mile, all three of them by a minute. Like I ran so fast after I saw that bear.
That's a good training technique.
Yeah, it was actual cortisol. Like they say we have so much of it like in our bodies from work stress, but I actually was scared I was being chased by a bear.
This is why you should probably just stick to yoga on vacation instead of running. I only subscribe to that. But speaking of bears, I did just order some bear spray and a bear horn for the trip with Adeline that we're going on.
There's grizzlies out there.
Yeah, because there's grizzlies, and we're going to be hiking in Glacier National Park. And my mom was there at my house whenever these things were delivered via Amazon. And she was like, what is that? And I said, well, Mom, it's bear spray. And she goes, I'm really uncomfortable with you hiking with Adeline out there alone. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be like with my 3,000 like closest friends. Like we're probably going to be on like the handicap like level of trails. I'm not a real like major hard hiker. It's not something I subscribe to or really enjoy. So I think we're going to be on like the flat ones. That's like handicap accessible is what I think. There'll be a lot of people.
Oh yeah, that, and they'll let you know like if there have been bear sightings in the area. Oh yeah, they'll be like, warning.
I was seeing all of that. So there's a couple trails. I was doing some trail update investigation because Adeline was very concerned that I was going to bring her on a straight uphill hike. I mean, I grew up
She could totally do it.
She could do
she
it.
is like
she
the
absolutely,
best athlete.
Yeah, she absolutely could. But so I grew up going to Mount Mitchell every year with my family, my dad, and we would hike down Mount Mitchell, which is the tallest mountain on the eastern seaboard. And it's like a 7-hour hike downhill. And every year we would do that, or my dad would be like, let's go hike Three Forks, like up in the mountains of North Carolina. And it's like a 5-mile hike, and it's uphill. So I've got a little bit of some PTSD, which is why I'm not going to put Adeline on those type of hikes because I'm still emotionally scarred from it. But I've been doing like all of the research on it to see like what is the difficulty levels of these hikes, and you'll see it'll like be bright red and it'll be like bear activity, and I'm like, nope. Yep. So we've got a bear horn, some bear spray. I don't think I can bring a gun in because I've got we're going to Canada afterwards. I don't think you can cross the border with a gun.
There.
I don't know.
They don't have the issues that we have here.
No. But yeah, so I'll just like shoot him with some bear spray or blow a horn at him. I don't fucking know. I'm sure it'll be fine.
So I can't remember if I told you, after college, I went backpacking out west.
I do remember this, yes.
With Knowles. And so I was shockingly the shortest person in our group. And I have like a major fear of like mountain lion attacks. And so as a joke, they tell me that mountain lions only prefer to attack short blonde women around the age of 5'1".
And you like...
I totally believed it. So like the whole time I would only hike in the middle of the group because I felt like I would be protected.
Rebecca, good grief.
I mean, how can somebody so smart be so dumb?
But no... Well, no, you're not dumb in any way, shape, or form. I'm just like, I'm going to have to murder these people that fucked with you at such a young, vulnerable age when you're going through like a very early life crisis.
So I'm still terrified of mountain lions. Like that's what I would be worried about if I were going out west.
Yeah, they do. Like you always see those videos or hear those stories where people are like mountain biking. They're cycling and the mountain lion just comes off from the top and like snaps their fucking neck and then they leave them there to eat. I don't know. It doesn't sound good. So I'm not planning on that happening. Hopefully the grizzly bear will kill the mountain lion before it attacks me or my
I think
daughter.
you're going to be totally fine. Yeah.
And then I'll just blow my whistle at it. Be like, please.
You'll be like,
don't.
okay, fine, I won't eat you.
Don't
I'm not
attack
starving
us.
or anything.
Yeah. So a couple things going on in the ATL. We are getting a Michelin-rated dining guide. Did you hear
excited.
about this?
Yes.
Okay, so
It's about darn time.
You are much more of a foodie than I am, only because I have the palate of a 5-year-old boy because I've got a terrible stomach. So I'm like a good butter pasta, chicken finger. I can tell you where the best cheese pizza is in town. But
You like a good steakhouse.
I do like a good steakhouse. But tell me what does that really mean? Like what do they do? Because apparently it's like compared with Tokyo and London and New York.
Oh, yeah. So it's
and
like all the major
Paris.
cities outside of Atlanta. Like they come in and they rank your restaurants. And our guest probably knows a little bit more than me, but like the big thing is like when you go to Europe or like particularly like Iceland's a big place to go to a Michelin star restaurant. But yeah, it's kind of a big deal. We have so many good restaurants here, and it's about darn time that somebody appreciated it.
Yeah, we do have amazing restaurants.
Such good
They
food.
are really good. There's some really amazing ones that I haven't even gotten to try, but everybody says are phenomenal, like Bacchanalia and places that
good.
have like 7-course
Delicious.
fixed menus, and I'm like, I can't eat any of that shit.
You may.
I can tell you where
would
the
look at
best
menu.
bread is in town.
Yeah, yeah. You do like some good bread.
delicious. St. Cecilia's,
So good. And
delicious
St.
bread.
Cecilia is delicious. And like Lila is so good. We just went there recently.
We went to KR Steak Bar, also good.
So
that
good.
was yummy.
Did you like that?
I did like it, yeah, but I had like a pretty basic again, I'm such a wuss.
Your pasta was really good.
Yeah, my pasta was delicious. But yeah, sadly enough, I've the stomach of a, I have the palate of a 6-year-old boy, primarily because my stomach is so
Right.
sensitive, which actually is a wonderful segue into the fact that I just read on People that Joe Jonas shit himself on stage like 4 years ago when he
that's
was
my
wearing
biggest
white
fear.
pants. So that is my biggest fear ever. So Rebecca and I speak a lot at seminars and conferences and things. And I'm always like, well, today's the day. I'm just going to shit myself right on stage.
That's
Or
all I can think about when I'm walking up is what if I poop in my pants?
what if I poop my pants?
I've only like pooped in my pants like twice as an adult.
Okay, I have pooped myself significantly more times than twice as an adult because I have IBS and
Yeah,
terrible
yeah.
stomach. But I'm just saying it was so funny because he was. I mean, granted, I've never done it public speaking or at a seminar or at a conference, so that's really helpful. So I always tell myself you're probably not going to because you've never done it before. So chances of it happening are probably slim to none while public speaking. But it is one of my greatest fears. And when he was talking about it, he was like, I feel very special now that I've been inducted into this club of shitting ourselves on stage. As an adult, these things happen. I guess he thought it was going to be like a small little tutor or something. And it just didn't work out. He was in white pants. He had to do a mid-wardrobe change, mid-set.
Oh, my God. That's awful.
I actually, prior to this time, I mean, I know he was one of the Jonas Brothers, but he may now actually be my favorite Jonas Brothers. I don't really know anything about
He's the
them.
hottest.
But is he really? Oh, God, I love that. So
He's good looking.
He is? Well, I mean, the vulnerability and the honesty of sharing that story with, I guess he told it on a morning radio show. I was like, God, kudos to you,
Good for
man.
him.
Yeah, I was really proud. So now he and I are probably going to be fast friends due to our
Probably.
digestive
Yeah.
issues. Who knows?
It makes you wonder, like when my stomach's that upset that I'm really worried about pooping myself, it's normally because I went on like a big bender the night beforehand.
God damn it.
So what was he doing the night beforehand?
I mean,
Or what did he eat?
It was before a show, so I mean, I'm sure he was fucking booze hounding it up and partying the night
Maybe.
before. I would assume. Who knows?
If you're not going to be able to booze hound and party it up the night before a show, then why be a movie?
Why be a
rock star?
musician?
Yeah.
No, I agree. Which you would think, again, because mine is always centered somewhere around alcohol or something that I ate terribly, like, ugh. But you would think that would probably happen to more rock stars, right? If they're booze hounding it and partying beforehand and then eating like on the road food. Ugh.
Or like the most
I'd
uncomfortable
die.
movie scene was when Bradley Cooper peed on himself.
Oh, God, that made me so fucking sad. But I mean,
Terrible.
it was awful because you just,
But like, it makes me think of Lady Gaga. I bet she's so intense on stage, like, and she never leaves the stage. I don't know.
I would think most people have shit themselves on stage.
And
I'm just going to throw
definitely
that out
minimum
there.
peed on
I would
themselves.
think, I would think that happened.
Well, now that they've got all that special underwear that just absorbs everything.
Oh, yeah, that stuff. Yeah, it could basically be like wearing
an
a
adult
diaper.
Yeah.
We could do that when we speak at seminars. Just put on some fucking
some
Depends
things.
and jump right on in there. Be like, you know what? If I shit myself, I'm not going to even miss a
totally
beat.
fine.
I'm going to keep right on going.
I mean,
That good of a speaker. That's how dedicated I am to sharing my
speaking
information
in August
with you.
at the board thing, so maybe I'll try out the diaper
Speaking
thing.
at the board thing too.
Good.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I have no idea. Actually, I just I got invited by Rodney and Harry, and so I'm
Perfect.
speaking with them at the board thing.
I
I
love
don't
that.
know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, but hopefully Todd and Carrie are too. That we just have a full firm sweep there. But you're also speaking at the Georgia Trial Lawyers Auto Torts.
Yep. But what workers' compensation can do to help your PI claim?
Yes,
Benefits,
huge benefits,
subrogation, and legislation.
God, that just sounds like a sexy topic. I am scintillated. Well, if
I'm
you,
sure people won't skip it and get lunch.
I will not. I will be right there, by God damn it, supporting you through and through. And if you shit yourself, I will create a commotion so you can get off stage flawlessly. You're
Well,
welcome.
I'll need you because the dress I think I'm going to wear, assuming that it fits right when it shows up,
Is
a
white.
it's yellow.
Oh, that'll be pretty.
It's a little bit lighter than this because I don't know how yellow does with my complexion. But I checked all the girls out that also wore it, and a lot of them were blondes. So,
Oh, yeah, you're going to be fine. You're going to look stunning.
We'll see.
And again,
and I'll
your-
be tan.
If your tummy rumbles, I've got you covered.
Maybe I'll just send an emergency text.
What
Like,
I'll do is I'll
bring me a
watch
towel.
you. If you start to go like pale, I'll just create like some fake fainting thing. Which I actually, for my wedding, I had a bridesmaid who was ready to do that because I was very nervous again. What if I have a panic attack and need to shit myself or something? And, there's like 150 people watching me, and I'm in like a white dress. This could go really poorly. And I said, if I give you the fucking look, I need you to immediately create a medical emergency, like do a high-pitched scream, fall on the ground, and that way I can like secretly be, ushered out of there to, I don't know, I was married at a lake, so go behind a bush somewhere or something. I don't know. But it was pre-planned, an emergency situation in case I freak the fuck out.
so it could be, instead of like The Runaway Bride, it could be another romantic comedy like The IBS Bride.
I'm definitely going to
The
shit my
wedding,
pants bride.
Honeymoon, where do you poop?
These
you just
things
got
happen.
married.
Oh, God, that's always the
We
worst.
still don't poop around each other
You
in our
d-
house.
you
Ryan doesn't
don't?
think women poop. Mm-mm. It's like a long-standing rule. We also aren't allowed to fart. So like if Hayden farts, it's like, no, girls actually don't do that.
See, I will I'm glad we're covering this right now in the intro. This is amazing. I actually do not think that it's very odd with my personality, but I don't fart in front of boys or anything like that. Like if it's my husband or somebody that I'm like dating very seriously, since I'm no longer married, I mean, I would probably go potty around them if I had to. But as far as farting, absolutely not. But Adeline and I do.
Like rip them all right on the
Yes,
couch.
and I will know what we actually say is, excuse me, I have to tutor.
Oh, that's a sweet
And
way to
yeah,
say it.
absolutely. And she'll say, okay, go ahead. Like, it's very cute. So it's preparing her so she's not going to be ashamed if she has a bodily function,
Mm-hmm.
but there are certain limits. I don't want to fart in front of a guy. One of my best friends actually used to Dutch oven her husband, though.
She did it to him?
Yeah.
Jeez.
They would do it to
Ryan
each
would
other.
leave me immediately.
I was like, what in the fuck did you just say that you did? She'd be like,
my God.
she's like, it's the funniest thing ever. So I'll just like, he'll be like laying there, like reading his book or something. I'll just Dutch oven. I'm like, you're a terrible fucking person. I don't know what to say about this.
If I did that, Ryan would be like, has
Ryan would
someone
die.
taken over? Is there an alien in Rebecca's body?
Ryan would die. I think just talking about it would make him start
He'll
to sweat.
turn off the podcast when he hears this for sure.
He will. Ryan, we love you. I'm sorry to discuss this with your beautiful wife, but it is part of being a human being, and it kind of is what it is. So the other thing that I saw in the news, besides precious Joe Jonas shitting himself on stage, which, God, I still love him for that, is Robert De Niro had a fucking baby. How old is Robert De Niro? Do you want me to tell you? Quiz. You ready? 79.
Pacino just had one too, didn't he?
I think fucking so.
And he's like 97. Like, he's old.
Is he older than De Niro?
Yep.
Jesus.
Even though they were in
Christ.
some movies together, weren't they?
They were. I felt like they were around the same like age. Scarface.
Yep.
No.
Nope.
Are they both
Yep.
in there? Pacino.
We'll fact check that.
At
the break.
Yeah. No one hold us to that, okay? Because I'm not sure. But
people get really mad in the comments. Somebody might.
Jesus Christ, they'll be like, "Do you bitches even know what you're talking about?" I'm like, for fuck's sake, it is a joke.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. 83. Al Pacino's 83. De Niro's 79.
Can you? I mean, I think that's fascinating from a biological standpoint. Like, our bodies aren't really making babies anymore after what?
Fuck no.
Like, if you get pregnant, like at our age,
max.
could you imagine?
No, I'd throw myself down a fire escape.
Like, maybe 40s, off chance, maybe early 50s for like female having a baby.
You cannot have a baby in your early 50s. I mean, I guess you could like IVF.
I'm willing to give it a try.
No, ma'am. We are done with this.
I know,
Rebecca,
I loved
being pregnant. I wanted to die.
But men literally can just make babies, and as long as they can get it up, I guess they're still making babies.
So the manufacturers of the little blue pill, Viagra, is really what fucked women for the past generation. And I'll explain this. So prior to this time, men would not be able to get it up past a certain age. I mean, I don't know, maybe 75, maybe 80. I don't really fucking know because I've never had sex with somebody of that age. Praise God. But
yet
ever shut up, Rebecca. But I want to say that younger women who would find a quote sugar daddy that would be like, I just would like to go to dinner with you and go on trips with you and all of those things, ruined. Their goals completely ruined because now they can get it up and now you have to bang them.
Yeah.
That puts a damper on any young dreams for girls that would like to be well taken care of by those 80-year-old men like Robert De Niro or Al Pacino in their older age. All over. Now they are just procreating into their 80s. Could you imagine?
Because the bigger problem is, don't get me wrong, I love being a mom, but like if your goal was to be with them, get the money, and then have them die and then go find you a young hottie, you're not doing that with mom boobs and a baby on your hip, right?
No, no. Anyway, an entire generation of sugar babies lost to Viagra. God damn it. Poor little things. Anyway, so, I couldn't imagine having a child at, it's my mom's age. She's 80, and my dad turns 80 this year.
Could you imagine if your dad called and goes, surprise, Sarah,
Surprise.
You're going to have a new brother.
No, absolutely not. But I think actually he and my stepmom would probably both kill themselves. I don't think that either one of them want any more children since they have like 5 of us, as a blended family. It's a lot. I think that their child raising days are over. I couldn't imagine wanting to do that again. I don't want to ever do that again of a young baby age at 80. Nope.
Not at 80. I'd do it now. Not at 80.
I know you would. No, ma'am. The answer is no.
3's enough.
Yes, it is. We are done. So today on the podcast, we are going to be bringing in Carrie Annis, who has recently joined us at Stottlemyre & Associates at the firm. She is amazing.
She's so great.
Feisty
Huge
and
fan.
fun. She was a partner at a defense firm before she saw the light and came to the claimant's side to help the injured people of Georgia. And so while we have done an episode kind of on my history and Rebecca's history, we wanted to bring in and interview Carrie because she is a fantastic, lovely human being, and she's now joined us. So she is with us every day. I'm sure she's thrilled by it and our antics. So we wanted to have her on today. So we will see what libation she is bringing us, but she will be back with us in a moment.
Welcome back to Lawyers and Libations with Sarah and Rebecca. and our very special guest today, Carrie.
Hey, ladies.
We're so excited to have you.
I am very excited to be on here with you ladies.
We just keep hiring strong women. That's our goal. Eventually, we're just going to take over the legal
Take over the
field
world.
with strong
We're
fucking
gonna
women.
take over the world. And y'all did need a ginger. I was asked on multiple occasions, are you going to be dyeing your hair blonde?
No, fuckers. No, we
Your red
need
hair's
some
so pretty.
diversity.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Hello.
Redheads are fun too.
Yeah, we try. We're a little crazy.
They are some fiery bitches. My sister's a redhead. Woo.
So you brought us a fun drink. I've not had a sip yet. What did you
haven't
bring
either.
today?
What is it?
So I am a basic bitch when it comes to cocktails. I am mainly wine or champagne, and the only cocktails I will drink are a dirty martini.
Yes,
Must be a
girl.
good
Yes.
dirty
We have a
martini.
couple of those.
Oh, yeah.
They're delicious.
Or an old fashioned. It has to be a good old fashioned. And I happen to know the person who makes the best old fashioned in Atlanta, my husband.
Ooh.
Also a ginger.
Also a ginger.
Also a
We
ginger.
find each other.
You should see their babies.
Yeah, my
They're
children
so
are
fucking
gingers.
cute.
We are
You know,
just
it's
a little
important because
compound.
y'all are kind of a dying breed.
We
so,
are.
yeah.
My hairdresser actually said that we are repopulating the world because gingers are going extinct.
My mom's a redhead, but my dad isn't, so none of us.
So
That's red
See,
hair.
I've always figured out whenever I see like people who has like one parent that's like a strong redhead, their kids are always redheaded. Like it happened with my friend Sarah Flamin. Like her kids both have really pretty red hair. Like, is it like a dominant gene thing? I don't know how it works.
I
Have
don't
you
really
done the
know.
research
So
on
like
this?
I haven't really done. You think that I should? So my parents were both brown hair, brown eyes. My brother's brown hair, brown eyes, and tan. I mean, I was joking last night.
There was
like,
a milkman involved.
I know.
I'm just-
He used to
I
tell
don't-
me that all the time.
I don't mean to burst your bubble, but
Right?
we
If
might
I
want-
didn't look so much like my
Your
mom
actual
with red
brother.
hair, then I would totally believe you. But my brother
do. You do
told
look
me
a lot
growing
like your
up,
mom.
you're the milkman's child. I used to have to wear a T-shirt to the beach because they didn't have these great sun shirts that they have now. I was in an Ariel T-shirt and socks on the beach.
The socks?
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
I think I had to help the kids with their gene study this year. I think it's a recessive gene.
It is a recessive gene. I do know that. So
Does that mean it's not dominant? That means that it's not automatically you get redhead kids if you
So
have-
if you have to do like the little, what's the square? I can't remember what it's called. So it would be if both of your parents had recessive, it would have matched up.
Yeah.
So a 1 in 4 chance
So
that you'd
there's
have red hair.
redhead on both sides of my family, just not my parents. But like, for instance, my husband's whole family is redheaded. His sister has very pretty red hair. She married a brunette. None of her children have red hair. And I know she's devastated about that. But like, it and then I met a guy last night. He was very olive skin toned. His wife is blonde and he has a ginger child. I don't know
Really?
how the hell it happens. Just sometimes God is just like trying to fuck with people and he throws a redhead in there.
Well, I mean, I think
love
it's
it.
stunning. My sister has the most beautiful, like dark red hair you've ever. And I'm like, fuck, I didn't get that. This is some fuckery.
It's such a pretty color.
As a child, I got made fun of a lot with it. So, it wasn't a cool thing to be a ginger. Now it's a much cooler thing to be a ginger. So I think my kids are being raised in an era where people will dye their hair that color. So, but
Do you
as
guys
a child,
like see each other like from across the street and give each other? Is there like a ginger like gang sign or something?
Oh yeah, I get comments all the time from people about it. Like I actually had a man, I was dropping off my dry cleaning and he commented on my hair and he was white-headed and he was like, I used to be a ginger. And I was like,
Oh my God, it's a secret club. I'm not in this club.
right, I know, I'm sorry.
Don't ever dye your hair blonde. We're fucking
No,
a
it's
dime.
kinda
There
a
was a
dozen.
time where I had, and yeah, I know.
You dyed your hair blonde?
I dyed my hair
No.
blonde.
How did it
I dyed
go
my
back?
hair brown.
No, ma'am.
Well, I was poor when I got right out of law school, and so then I was like, well, shit, I'm gonna have to go back to my roots.
Well,
But did it come out like a skunk? Was it like a whole level of like red versus blonde, like a line?
did you pixie cut it like I showed you my pixie cut last night?
I loved your pixie cut last night. I
Is this
totally forgot about
Rebecca's
that.
like Sharon Stone lesbian
oh
haircut?
my God, she
It was
looked
phenomenal.
Y'all are so
stunning.
sweet.
I was
know.
like, I was expecting it to look awful, and I was like, you need to cut your hair like
No.
No.
It's the growing out stage. Just like when it
That's the
mushrooms
transition.
for like
They call it
6 months.
transition
I know.
hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I called it the Meg Ryan haircut. I did the short Meg Ryan right when I graduated from college, and I had hair. I mean, like I always like to be able to cover my boobs like a mermaid if I come out of a pool. That's how long I like my hair generally. And all of a sudden I chopped it off Meg Ryan style, and I was like, holy fuck, that was a terrible
Meg's hair
decision.
was short then, and then I cut mine like Reese Witherspoon. It was like the Sweet Home Alabama movie came out, so I had that haircut.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was cute. She always has good haircuts.
Always
in
good
all
hair.
Her movies. I feel like
does.
she just ages in reverse. She's still so stunning.
So I still haven't had a sip yet. Tell me. Tell us more
So
about the
it's
old-fashioned.
delicious. Tell us what's in it.
So an old fashioned. Well, this one we didn't have rye whiskey, which is usually what I prefer. So
Wait, I thought
think
Jeff
this is just,
like required a rye.
He does. He does.
So
and
he's
I
angry
like
with you for
rye,
this.
but we already had bourbon at the house, so we just used
What
the
kind?
bourbon. I think that this is Mitchers.
Okay, yeah.
It could be Bullet. I was not present when he was making it. It was like earlier today. He was like trying to make me try it, and I was like, Jesus
I
Christ.
love him for
the
that.
best.
What
He's
a
the best.
love bug. Thanks,
know?
Jeff.
Very
Yeah,
good.
right?
It's delicious. He actually
it's
does
so
make a
good.
really, really good old fashioned.
He makes them a lot for us at home, and I'm notorious for, maybe taking a weed gummy, laying on the couch,
Yes, girl.
and
Same. Oh, and then
wanting
you
an
have
old fashioned, and then I pass
Then
out,
you have
and I
one
don't even
bourbon.
drink any
Yeah,
of it. He
it's
gets
all
so pissed.
over.
He gets
It's
so
all
pissed.
over.
So.
Yeah. I don't
he
know anything
makes
about
the
that.
best.
Yeah, that doesn't happen to me ever.
So I'll have to make you one. We just got back from Wisconsin, and up there you have brandy old fashions. So you make them with brandy, and we got ours sweet with pickled mushrooms.
I feel like you told me about
So
this.
good.
Sounds very odd,
You
but I will
told me
try
this. You mentioned
anything.
mushrooms, and you lost me at
Yeah,
that point. I was
But
over it.
it does like a good sweet, and then the pickled mushroom randomly in like the sweet old fashioned takes on a very like almost like a salt and vinegar chip.
like salt and vinegar
I do
chips,
like salt,
okay.
and
So
I like
good.
things that are pickled.
Could we do it
And
like
I
a pickled onion
mushrooms.
instead? I fucking hate
Some people do them with pickled onions, but
I
so
do love
I'll
a pickled
get
onion.
everybody to get extra pickled mushrooms, and then I'll take everybody's mushrooms at the end and eat them. They're
Yeah.
so good.
No, but what is in here? So we've got a bourbon, and then what else is in it?
Yeah, so then there's some bitters, then simple syrup. And I have an orange peel and a cherry, even though traditionally old fashions only have an orange peel. I love a good.
It's
good
delicious.
cherry.
Yeah, there are little
very good.
subtle hints of cherry.
subtle hints of cherry.
It's
And
very
then
good.
like a little bit of water to cut it, and mainly just from the ice melting. So I didn't add extra water.
Yes.
I like mine watered down. I'm not gonna lie.
A little bit, you
Yeah.
know, because I feel like sometimes it gets better as you're drinking it.
I agree. That's what I do with my bourbons. I do bourbons on the rocks.
And I
all the time.
love a good bourbon on the rocks.
Yeah,
I love a good bourbon on
that's
the
my evening, so I don't kill anyone cocktail.
rocks. It's a very.
I don't love those. So yeah, I like my
smooth-
tequila.
Yeah. Rebecca will be like,
Yeah.
Oh, see, I in college, my best girlfriend Colby, who lives up in Atlanta, we were the only girls who we would drink scotch in college.
I drink scotch.
Scotch and water.
Yeah.
It was shit scotch. It was Dewar's.
Oh no, that's what I drink.
right?
Was
And we were
Dewar's
like,
on the
oh,
rocks.
I want some Dewar's on the rocks.
No, I was
with
Dewar's
some
on the
water.
rocks every day. Every day when I'd go to
We
the
thought
bar.
we were so cool.
Obvious.
I still do like a good scotch. I have not touched Dewar's in a while. I think that.
I mean, it
well,
could be
y'all are
good.
so weird.
I just feel like it's like it might be just an old person's drink.
It's such an old person's. My granddad used to drink scotch.
Mm-hmm.
I used to he used to drink scotch and smoke cigars, and I loved the smell when I was little.
yeah.
The only way I can drink scotch is if the ice melts and then it's like watered down scotch.
I love a good smoky scotch.
That's all I drank when I was in Portugal because they didn't have
scotch.
bourbon. It was scotch.
Do they have wine there? I think I would just drink wine.
Lots of wine. Yeah, I drank
I
some
do like.
wine.
I do like.
Yeah,
wine.
but
do love wine.
so I don't murder anyone. Cocktail in the afternoon was always a big scotch on the rocks.
Last night was the first time I'd had wine. I mean, probably in a month. I had the worst hangover this morning. I think it's the sugar.
I feel
Maybe.
like it's maybe like what you're used to drinking. I drink wine all the time. We probably drink wine pretty much every night. And I never get hangovers from it.
Because it's your normal
Because
drink.
it's my normal drink. But if I throw a liquor drink in there, which I'm only typically drinking on the weekend, especially if I go out and drink multiple vodka sodas at say Johnny's Hideaway or something like that with Rebecca, then I feel like absolute dog shit the next day because it's just something I'm not used to drinking.
Right.
Or if I drink beer, we went to some breweries, actually some really cool breweries over in Grant Park. Last weekend with the kids, because nothing like kids and breweries. It's the best.
Right.
I'm like
I was literally Googling
things I did not
family-friendly
think was
breweries.
coming up.
We do. We do the same thing. We'll be like, go play
It's the best.
some shuffleboard or something
It's
out
the
there.
best.
But Rebecca, you did also have a espresso martini kind
You
of thrown
did,
in at the end with some
that
wine.
Yeah.
put you over the
With
edge.
like rice something that was weird.
Yeah, it was the rice milk thing or something.
very
You were like,
strange.
"But did you put anything in here?" And they were like, "Oh, no dairy, just rice milk or something." And you were like,
Very weird.
"Okay."
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see you drink that. And then I think we maybe went back to wine. I had a glass
Yes.
of champagne. So needless to say, I woke up and I felt like shit this morning because I mixed all my alcohol.
Oh,
So
I
I
felt
think
terrible.
it's when you mix it or when you're drinking stuff that you're not used to drinking, maybe.
Well, and I had to go to the orthodontist at 8 for Hayden and for me. And I
They
was like,
loved
I was
breathing in
like,
your
oh my
mouth.
God. I bet he was like, how many cocktails did you have last night before you came and dragon breathed in here?
Yeah, he can,
You've got to.
he can taste them when
I
he's
don't
walking in
know
your
how
mouth.
people are dentists or orthodontists. Gross.
Well, and they don't have masks on anymore. Like, if I were them, I would just wear them all the time if I was
But
going to
I
be in
feel like
mouths.
they wore masks before COVID, and then during COVID, what all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're like,
I think now they're just
fucking,
like,
I'm out.
I
Yeah,
know.
they're done.
They're just done.
So we're so happy that you're at the firm.
We are.
Very
So
exciting.
give us some of your background. Where were you born and raised?
So I know you can't tell it because I don't have an accent anymore, but I am from Valdosta, Georgia.
Ugh, the hotbed of Valdosta, cosmopolitan.
Love it. The thriving metropolis.
Yes. And did you play sports in high school?
I did. I played all the sports. My dad was always very athletic. I played basketball, softball, volleyball, soccer.
I feel most female litigators were pretty damn athletic and competitive as shit.
I did a lot. I enjoyed it. I hope my kids will do a semblance of sports.
Yes.
Um,
Well, they're still young, so they're getting
I know.
used to it.
I am enjoying still having my weekends to
Welcome
myself.
to the fucking rest of your life.
I know.
It's hell on earth. And then where'd you go to undergrad?
So I went to Valdosta State.
Okay.
My best girlfriends, who I actually texted about coming on the podcast because I was like, bitches, I need a cocktail. And they were like, listen, we got you one. So in
We got
college,
you.
which I didn't do this, I was this close, but we used to do apple pie shots.
Oh, I used to have those at the frat houses.
Oh my God.
No, but what is
Oh
it
my God.
again?
Okay,
It's
so you-
like,
You literally have to like put your head backwards,
right? Breathe in.
vodka, apple juice, whipped cream, and cinnamon. And my
just,
girlfriend
like,
Brooke
do
used
it.
to be real heavy on the cinnamon.
You'd like lean your head over like the.
Yeah, and then you'd have to shake it up.
challenge is like, remember that whenever you were like in high school or college and you'd have to
People would
Eat a spoon
die.
of
try to eat a
cinnamon.
spoon of cinnamon, and everybody starts fucking coughing and going
It goes into your
terrible
lung.
fits.
Like people
Oh,
would,
yeah.
like I think
So
people were
would that
dying
happen
from
whenever
it.
you're
Oh
taking
my
the
God,
shot?
yeah. She would just dump all the cinnamon on your face.
God,
And
that's
so,
we didn't do
that's
the
actually
cinnamon.
hysterical. I couldn't support
so
that
they were like,
more.
oh my God, we will pay you if you bring apple pie shots. And I considered it and I was like, then I'm gonna have to get up and then I'm gonna have cinnamon all over everybody and it's just gonna be
John, I don't think would be thrilled with us
No.
ruining
No.
his
Is that? And I think that's the one in college where you would like they would have the chair.
Yeah, and
and you would like lean back.
Oh
And they
no, that's an upside down like.
Yeah, do you do an
Tequila
upside
shot
down
or
margarita?
upside
But
down margarita.
also the apple
That's
pie
how the
shots
apple pie
were
one was
exactly
too.
the same.
Mhm. Yep.
I don't know.
But a hall crawl.
That's
Isn't that what they used to call them in college? A hall crawl.
crawls. Did you ever do what are they called? Where you hurdles? Did you do hurdles?
I don't know.
So at the
I don't
DU
know.
house at UNC, they had hurdles, and what you would do is you'd have ice cube trays filled up generally with, I don't know, fucking like Everclear and some sort of like Kool-Aid or something. And they'd go down it, and you would have a straw, and you'd be next to somebody, and you'd race down the fucking ice cube
Oh, yeah, I
tray to
never did
see who
hurdles.
won.
I could have won because I'm so good at shots though.
It didn't end up well. It was
I'm not
awful.
good at shots anymore. I used to be good at
I
shots.
love shots.
And funneling. I actually used to be really good at funneling.
I do like
know,
shotgunning a
right?
beer.
Oh, I used to love to shotgun a beer. This was all being from Valdosta.
All right,
and then
it
I
sounds
washed
like
the
we're all a
redneck
bunch
out
of
me.
raging alcoholics. I'm going to
does.
tie us back in. So then you got your law degree.
Yes, and
Christ.
then we moved to Atlanta in like 2011.
How'd you meet your husband?
We met actually on a study abroad.
Gingers.com.
We met on gingers.com. Find you.
Study abroad will find.
We met on
I
a
will
study
find
abroad.
you.
Actually, we were in Italy studying abroad in law school.
Where?
And we met. So we did like Rome, Florence, Venice. We became friends.
They had a study abroad in law school. My law school didn't have that.
Ours did,
We
but I
actually
didn't go
did
then
it-
either.
We did it through the University of Miami.
Okay.
So I like transferred to the University of Miami, did the study abroad, and then the credits transferred over. It was just a raging
party the entire time.
Oh my God, it was so
That's
fun.
when I studied abroad in Florence.
So yeah,
for a summer. But
so yeah,
that was in
that's how we
college.
met, and then we dated through law school, and then we moved to Atlanta together. He has
does he
always
do?
worked in the insurance industry. He used to work for ACE, and now he's at RSUI, so he handles claims, but like excess trucking claims, like
Big claims.
he's in
Bad
the
claims.
exposure, bad, multi-million-dollar.
So is he an attorney or he does?
He handles the claims directly,
Okay.
so he has to assign outside counsel.
Okay.
Because he's mainly handling claims in like California and Texas. He rarely has Georgia cases. So it's actually really entertaining when I decided to switch over to the plaintiff side. He speaks a lot at different conferences and stuff, and he always brings up the anecdote that his wife just became a plaintiff's attorney. And they're like, well, you got to get all this.
They're like, what are you going to do?
I know. They're like,
We're going to
dum, dum,
sue the
dum.
shit out of you, Jeff. Good luck, little bastard. Poor little fella.
So,
I'll conflict her out. I'll take you on my loan.
Oh, exactly. So yeah, so then I did a brief stint at a plaintiff's firm right out of law school.
That did
will
not
be
go
named.
well.
That did
No,
not go well.
But that did not go well. It
and
was not a
then-
good. It was not a lovely experience for you.
Which is probably why I stayed on the defense side for so long after that, because I just did not have a good experience. It was right under a year. I was during the time when the economy was shit. I was literally putting on a suit in the morning, going and taking my resume to people. So it's such a different than it is now with regard to getting a legal
for
job.
Sure.
So then
And what year was that? Whenever you.
So that would have been 2011. So I worked there for a little less than a year, maybe like 10 months. And then I had a case with Len Olmert, who plucked me out.
God, I
and-
love that woman.
Oh,
She is one of, so
she is
Lynn
so
Olmert
sweet.
is,
She's amazing.
just for our listeners, she is a partner at McAngus, and she is one of the kindest, most intelligent, lovely, fair defense lawyers and partners that I've ever met. So,
absolutely.
and I've had cases against her and worked with her, and she is just one of the best. So the fact that you got to be mentored by someone like her.
Oh,
is-
absolutely.
Good grief.
I feel like it really shaped my practice. So I was with her and another one of the partners, Chris. I was with him for like 11 years. We were at one firm.
You were a baby lawyer when I
Yeah.
met you.
Oh yeah, my first case against you was with Whitlock, and I was an associate.
And I was like, she's so cute. She's going to be like my new little sister. I love her. You were fun and feisty and
Oh, yeah.
smart and reasonable, all of the things that make you a good litigator. And I immediately said to you then, if you ever switch side to the plaintiff's side, you have to come and work with me.
And that was always my dream.
And that
I always wanted to come to
love
Girl
that.
World.
Yes.
I always wanted to come to Girl World.
That it is. We are the only, probably, are we the only like female plaintiffs firm? I would say like 99%.
What a few?
female.
Yeah, I can only think of a couple. Yeah.
Yeah. Where there's multiple female lawyers all together practicing together. Yes, and so I always wanted you to join us. One of our dearest friends, Brian Bucklew, his nickname for you is Ginger Bomb. So it'd be like, what's Ginger Bomb doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to fucking get her to come work with me for the love of God. Get her over here. And then you decided that you were thinking about making a switch. So you were a partner at McAngus.
I was. So after my first, so I have two little girls.
How old are they and what are their names?
So Frances is 4. She's fabulous. She wears cute little glasses. She's adorable. She looks just like my husband.
The both of your daughters are like magazine-worthy, ginger, precious, cute little monsters.
so
I've
cute.
never seen anything more cute in my fucking life.
Now, you know,
besides you
I'm
and your
pretty
husband,
biased.
y'all are pretty
Pretty
cute.
biased.
I'm not, and I think they're fucking cute as shit. Absolutely.
They're a lot of fun. It's
Yeah.
crazy. We're in the thick of it. My youngest is the typical second child. You met her.
child.
She kissed you right
She
on
gave
the
me a
lips
kiss.
yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. I walked in, she was like-
She is a vibe. Her name's Edith. We call her
I
Edie.
need
cute.
those little
She
kisses
is a
from
fucking
Edie.
vibe. She is like a trip. Like
No
she will
fear.
literally no fear.
Get in here, little
She doesn't know
monster.
a stranger. She'll just hike it on up. She's a good conversation starter because literally I'm
And how
usually
old is
following
she?
her around. She's 18 months. She's going to be a handful.
Does she have those cheeks?
Oh my gosh, yes. Blue
What
eyes.
about those little thighs? Does she have thigh rolls?
She's not quite. My oldest was all chub. She was like thick, baby. I loved it.
Thighs and
Edie's
cheeks
a little bit.
all
She's
day.
a little chubby, but she's not quite as thick as Frances was. So, but they're a lot of fun. We totally.
Good grief. So it is, so you decided to make the switch, and it is,
Yes.
I will say, being a defense attorney, partner, mom, all of those things get very tricky as your kids start getting older. And
It does.
I mean, all of the things, it's very hard. So why did you decide to make the switch?
Well, I had kind of been thinking about it. After I came back after Frances, I didn't really have a hard time adjusting. And then I made partner. And I will say one thing I struggled with as a female partner at a defense firm is they put, obviously, you have the billable hour requirements and you're trying to keep up, and coming back after having kids, it's always a struggle. Like, I was always really good at billing hours pre-kids. Like, I crushed it. It was just something that kind of came naturally. It didn't really bother me. I always kind of felt it annoying, but after I made partner, I felt like there was, in addition to billing hours and trying to get clients and marketing with adjusters and all the things, there were also all these like leadership positions they would want you to do. And I volunteer for everything. It's just my personality. So I felt like on top of, having young children and billing hours and doing all this stuff, they were like, okay, well, we want you to do X, Y, Z. And it didn't really correspond to additional compensation. And I was like, this is time that's being taken away from my family. I'm struggling. So with the second, I'm coming back and my daughter's like sick, like every other fucking week, because that's what they do when they're in daycare and they're constantly sick. And like, I just struggled a lot more after that one. I was like, I'm not enjoying this. I loved the people that I work with. I still do. They're still some of my closest friends.
I love the people that you work with.
I
Yeah.
feel like as a defense firm, like MGC, they do what they can, and they really are supportive of women in the extent that they can be.
Right.
But there's just, it's an antiquated system. The billing of the time, it's just antiquated, and until the insurance industry decides to change it, they're always going to lose women at a certain time.
And before I switched sides, I managed our workers' comp group on the defense side, and that was one thing we were always talking with the carriers. Were like, can we, because like if you're an efficient worker, you totally don't get rewarded because you're not billing enough time. So like, I'm a quick writer, I have good grammar, like I don't have to go back and fix everything, but I would bill less hours than the person beside me because they weren't as smart. And so you're like, ugh, you're totally penalized unless you're able to put in the time. And like, my husband traveled, so I could never, there was no way, particularly with 3 kids, that I could keep up. And that's why I think you'll love, it seems like you already like it and you're doing great, but you can put your kids down and catch up on emails for 30 minutes at night, and you're not worried about billing 4 hours. You're just catching up on emails. And if you can do it in 30 minutes, hell yeah. Then you can go to sleep.
Well,
or you can do some self-care and not be like, oh, I've got 8 more hours to go today.
It was just annoying because I feel like I would get what I needed to get done, and then I'd be like, well, fuck, I have like 4 more hours I need to bill so that I can meet this. And then I'd go on vacation and I'd be worried about billing time.
Oh, it's so depressing.
And so that was just, it started to really wear on me. And then I always really struggled. Obviously, you have some claims where, there's fraudulent claims, and that is why the system is how it is. But a lot of times I found myself struggling with defending positions of certain clients, and I felt myself empathizing more with the injured worker.
Absolutely.
And I feel like as defense, and you guys probably know this, like, clients are drawn to similar-minded defense attorneys. So, like, you're going to have an aggressive client, they're going to find an aggressive defense attorney. Like, I would have some clients that I would market with, they'd give me some business, and then we realized we just didn't have similar.
Didn't mesh, yeah.
So my best clients at my firm were more, they were aggressive when they needed to be, but also
They would listen to your
They would listen to my
advice.
advice, and they
Absolutely.
liked settling cases and closing them and trying to manage, like, claim costs and stuff like that. But even still, I would still have some where I would have to be like, I can't defend this position. And it's not personal to you because it's a job. And sometimes I feel like you get so, as an adjuster or defense attorney, you get so desensitized to stuff.
You do.
And then you realize that, oh, wait, this is someone's livelihood, or this is someone
a
who needs
person.
a surgery.
Right.
And I felt like it just was a better fit for me.
Well, and one thing you'll like about this that took a minute. So when you do defense work, you typically have like 3 or 4 major clients. So I had like 4 major clients, and I did all of their work for South Carolina. But if you piss them off, if you're not willing to advocate for a position, they'll just yank your work and take it somewhere else. And so it's a tough, whereas on like this side, if your client doesn't like you, which is not going to happen very often, it might be your personalities don't match. They'll get a new lawyer, and you're not losing a quarter of your business.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a very, like on the defense side, I think you have to, it pushes you a little bit to sometimes support positions that you know.
Don't agree with.
Yeah. Whereas on this side, if our client's lying and we think they're full of it, we can just fire them.
Yeah, we can.
And you don't have to go to management.
That's the good thing. You don't have to deal with anything like that about worrying about, you know, like the repercussions long term. I remember when I was doing defense, and I had a client that was trying to get the injured worker to settle. And so we had a conference call with the partner at the time that I was working for, and their client and me. And he was just like, just have them fall off auto pay. Let's see what happens when they fall off auto pay. I bet you that'll get him to settle. And I was like,
no.
You are a fucking terrible person. Like, you can, I mean, these people are already having their wages reduced significantly.
Now they're going to lose their house.
Half of what they are. Yeah, I'm like, how would you feel if that was your mom or you or your wife or your daughter or your son or your, I mean, like, what in the fuck is wrong with you? So it is easier on this side to wake up every morning, because if you find a client that you're like, oh, I don't actually think they suffered a real injury, I think they're completely fucking lying, we can fire them. And we do all the time, because we don't have enough time in our day to represent people that are actually not hurt, right? Nope. And I think that is part of the good side, that it gives you the leeway to be able to do that. Where on the defense side, you'd be like, oh, I've got to take this fucking position. This is not good.
And yeah, and I will say, like, especially when I became partner, it happened less and less, because, like I said, I feel like I aligned myself with clients,
with those clients that would listen to you, right?
But I still would have clients that would sometimes ask me to support unreasonable things, and most of them we had the relationship that I would be like, I'm gonna need you to.
You
like,
realize that's
insane.
Like,
you realize like this position is legitimately insane, and then they'd be like, oh, okay. Like, I had a client one time on a case. Where the injured worker it was catastrophic, and he had an amputation, above the knee amputation, and he was work-related amputation, and he needed a prosthetic. And there were issues with getting him like mobility. So he primarily was still wheelchair bound, even though he would sometimes utilize the prosthetic, because the goal was to get him back walking as much as possible. But at the time, he just wasn't. And so my client actually was like, well, since it's primarily for cosmetic purposes, do you think that we could like deny the prosthetic?
Oh my God. No.
And I was like,
man.
oh no. I was like,
No.
please just listen. And she laughed at herself after, God bless her. But I was like,
She was like, actually, that makes me sound like a fucking terrible person.
Like, that's not good. I had this one terrible client, and I'm not going to say his name because I think we might be friends on the social. But he used to be so hateful, and he would take these terrible positions. And he was like, if you want another file for me, you're going to have to do this. So he was in Colombia one time when I lived in Colombia. The MGC guys pawned him off on me halfway through this beer festival, because we both did his work. And he's schnockered, makes a bunch of like anti-Semitic comments to me and Ryan because our last name's Hallberg. He was so rude.
Up.
I got him really drunk. And then I dared him to eat a pickled pig's foot, because that was like a random thing at the bar. And he puked his brains out. And I was like, bye.
Hey, bye.
It was so awful. But he ran up like a $500 charge at this like small bar in Colombia where drinks are $1 on like Goldschlager shots, like on my tab. And like Columbia drinks are not expensive. I remember having to get
Do
a
I
management.
know this person or no? Have I met him and like drank with him or anything or no?
No.
Okay.
I've not hung out with him.
Okay, well, if you
since
do,
I've
give
known
me a
you.
heads up. I will
He
fuck
was
with him
so awful.
thoroughly.
Oh yeah.
But he knew. He was like, you're going to buy all my drinks and you're going to take my positions if you still want my work. And I was like,
So adjusters also, I will say this, right? So I had amazing clients too whenever I ended up like handling all my own files and getting my own work. And they were phenomenal and I love them. And I think adjusters for the most part on these, especially workers' compensation claims, some of them are really, really good. They're just really overwhelmed, right?
Oh, God,
They've got
yeah.
like 400 cases and they don't know what to do
Yeah,
and they can't
it's-
approve things and they're
No.
not doing it to be nefarious at all. But some of them, I remember, so there was a year that I switched firms between where I was before I went out on the plaintiff side. And because I had a couple of friends that moved over there and they were lovely and they were like, why don't you come over here? I was like, okay, I'll move over there. So then you get thrown in with all new clients, right, that you don't know. And you're like, Jesus Christ. And we would go out to dinner and they would be like, I'm going to need an extra salmon
Oh,
to
God.
go.
Oh, yeah.
Like the takeout plate, they bring the takeout dinner because the firm's paying for it. And they're like, oh, my daughter's at home. I'm going to get her a $35 salmon.
All
and
the
I'm
time.
like, what the
All the
fuck
time.
is wrong with
Crazy.
They
you?
would we would host like mani-pedi things. They would bring friends.
Of
They
course.
would like order the surf and turf.
It's a very weird, it's always surf and
And order
turf.
an
Without
extra-
veil, it's
No.
always surf and turf. But it's like it's a weird pay to play thing on the defense side. A lot of times with some of the adjusters, they're like, fuck yeah, I just hit the lottery by this job, bitches. I'm going to have these defense attorneys take me out all the time, so I'll send them cases. But those are also generally the ones that are A, the laziest, or B, take like the most
Crazy
absurd
positions.
positions
those were the
on
ones
cases.
who would never send you business. Like
No.
we would have some adjusters that I will not name names, but that we knew they would come to all the things and run up the biggest tab.
All the free
take all the
things.
swag.
No business, none whatsoever. But you can't really do anything about it because there is the possibility
that they may
Yep,
send
they're going to get
you
mad at their
business.
lawyer one day and
Yeah.
switch it all over.
you
So
know.
welcome to the plaintiff side. You don't
thank
have to
you.
do that anymore.
It's lovely.
I do think it is significantly more favorable and friendly towards female attorneys that have families. Because, again, if you look at a lot of the big defense firms, right, you have primarily, I would say, I think it's females make up 50 to 60% of the associates, but like less than 10% of the partners at big law firms in general. And I think it's because it's significantly difficult to be able to raise your children and be on call for I've got a sore throat or a tummy ache at school and you've got to leave and you've got depositions scheduled. So the plaintiff side is much more friendly towards that. So we are thrilled to have you.
Yeah, cheers. You're going to be so great.
Yeah, you're going to do great.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
coming from the defense side, for our listeners, since you're so fresh, I'm the most removed from the defense side because I started plaintiff side in 2011. Rebecca was after me
I was 15.
to the plaintiff side, and now here you are, 2023, which just as an aside really fast, I'm friends with some of your partners in South Carolina, and I knew them prior to you becoming a partner, and when I would say, oh my God, do you know Carrie? They'd be like, yes, we love Carrie. And I'd be like, yeah, she's going to come work with me one day. Absolutely. She's going to be with me. And then I got the announcement that you made partner, and I immediately called them. I was like, you motherfucker. I'll kill you. Like, don't you try and take her away from me. I will get her back.
did
So
it.
I did.
You did it.
So I just want to say as an aside, I win. But coming from the defense side in 2023, what should our listeners, if they have suffered a work-related injury, what are the top 3 things they should watch out for or do, like from a defense perspective? What are you guys coming at them with most, like that they need to be most careful about with their claims that are going to be red flags for the defense
Oh, yeah.
attorney?
Well, first of all, I think it helps to understand a little bit like what a claims adjuster does. And you touched on it earlier. Some of them, with how the company is run, are just crazily overworked. They have too many files. They're constantly just putting out fires. They're not actually handling the claims. but it's their job as a claims adjuster to adjust, to manage risks, to look up red flags, to try to get the case to cost the least amount possible. So sometimes there's nothing you can do, and that is why you hire attorneys like us to help you represent. Sometimes your claim is going to get denied even if you did everything right. But I definitely think that there's some things that injured workers can do to at least, even if the claim's going to get denied, to put your case in the best position possible to be successful at trial. So I feel like a lot of times claims are flagged when, one of the initial things is they've been at work for 2 weeks and they're on an injury. Yes, sometimes it definitely happens. That's just always one that's going to be flagged. It may be denied. You just need to be ready to explain it.
They just started. I hate that.
It happens all the time. And honestly, I feel like we would find that information out, how long have they been employed there? And most of the claims that were disputed were ones that were only employed for a short amount of time prior.
Or were they hurt on a Monday? They come in first thing Monday morning.
It's always a red flag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always a red flag. But also reporting the injury timely. I know sometimes, reporting it to the appropriate channels, if you know who those are, and sometimes they don't. And sometimes they've never been involved in a work-related injury. But also, I feel like sometimes injured workers can be their own worst enemies when they try to make their case seem worse than it is. Just be straightforward about your symptoms. Be straightforward. Don't add body parts that aren't really there.
Don't say 10 out of 10.
Don't
10 out of 10 means
you're going
you have to go to the ER right then and you're screaming.
Exactly. We were talking to some doctors last night and they were like, when you come in and see us for your claim, don't say that you're 10 out of 10 in pain. Don't claim that your pinky finger hurts when you fell on your back, try to be as specific as possible. And also don't lie about prior conditions. As adjusters, they have the tools to find out everything. They will put surveillance on you. They will run an ISO search. They will run a medical canvas. They are going to find out. And in Georgia, pre-existing conditions
are compensable.
It's compensable if you have an aggravation. So sometimes I would have clients or plaintiffs on a case that would lie about a pre-existing condition, and then the claim would get denied because they'd find out about it, because they're going to find out about it. They always do. They have the means to do it. So be upfront. And like I said, sometimes they're still going to deny it because that just happens. That's how the workers' comp system is.
But again, really fast, just for our people, because you just said things extraordinarily articulately, but at a very quick amount of time. If someone has a pre-existing condition, for example, I've had an anterior lumbar fusion, right? So if I hurt my back at work lifting something else, then I would say I had a fusion before, but now I'm feeling this in this area, or it hurts in the same area. Something's not right, right? You don't want to lie about it and be like, I never had a fusion, because they're going to get my records and they're going to be like, bitch, you had a fusion. Now you're lying, and they're going to always bring that up during a deposition. They're going to bring that up during your trial. It's not a good look.
It's not. And it's a credibility issue. And so that not only goes unfavorable with the doctors, because, defense counsel and the adjusters are going to be sending those records to the doctors.
Immediately.
They're going to be calling them. They're going to be getting questionnaires. That's what they do. They have the expendable income to do that. So I've, on this, since switching sides, that's the first thing. I'm like, don't lie to me. Because if I'm in your deposition and they start asking me you about something that you told me previously you didn't have, I can't help you.
I say that to every single one of our clients. I'll be like, hey, guess what? I'm your lawyer. Now tell me all of your shit right now. Because if I get surprised at your deposition, I might fire you, because then I'm not going to trust you.
No. And you can't fix once it's once it comes out in a depo, you're done.
You're done.
I can fix you all day before you get under sworn testimony, and they go, but do you remember this? And they'll be like, yeah, maybe I do.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, are you kidding me?
The worst.
You can have a case that's $100,000 case, go to a $10,000 case in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So
Happened
don't
to me with
lie
your
to
old
your
partner,
lawyer.
Chris.
Oh, he'll find
Whitlock
some. He'll
will.
find some.
Yeah,
Had a
he
great
will
case.
fuck
Yep.
you up.
He couldn't wait.
He's aggressive, but he's a
good lawyer.
fucking attorney.
And he was a great lawyer to learn under, as was Lynn. So another thing about our bar, which I found this... So a lot of times as a lawyer, when we have a very small bar in the workers' comp section, I would say. So you have cases against the same defense attorneys. You have, co-counsel. You talk to the same attorneys all the time on these cases. And so we were taking, Carrie and I were up taking depositions in a COVID death case. And we're up in another attorney's office, and we're talking to the defense attorneys, and we're kind of ribbing them and joking with them and busting their balls a little bit, because that's what we do. And, the widow was sitting next to us, and I had to say to her, just so you know, we've had many cases with these attorneys. So this is not just us like being nice to the other side. I think that is another aspect that a lot of injured workers or plaintiffs, if they've been involved in a personal injury case, don't understand is if you know the other attorneys, you're going to talk to them more in a friendly manner. And P.S., if they like you, they're always going to pay you more on their cases.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's huge.
Absolutely.
I mean, but I've heard that before, like from a claimant that fired their old attorney, and they were like, well, I mean, he walked in and just chummed it up with the defense attorney. I was like, he will get you more money
defense
on
attorney
your
is in charge
case.
of money.
Absolutely.
I had the same thing I tell my client before his depo, because I'm friends with Ann Bishop, and I go, look, we serve on boards together, like we're friends. She's going to give you a tough depo, but we're friends, and she'll probably pay me more money because we're friends.
Because
Absolutely. I
So,
do
like,
that all the
don't
time. If
get-
I liked
yeah.
opposing counsel, I would just kick in a little bit more on that.
yeah.
Yes.
Makes
I
a
mean,
big difference.
that's what you do. I mean, and so it is a very small bar, and I think that is important for our listeners to understand, is that especially if you suffer a work-related injury in Georgia, do not be turned off by the fact that your attorney may or may not talk friendly with opposing counsel, because they will always pay you more money if they like you.
It's typically a good sign.
Yeah.
Because you can still be cordial with people and be aggressive and try a good case. And I think
Absolutely.
that's what I learned from the attorneys who mentored me is, you can still be pleasant and cordial and nice and friendly and still like fucking kick their ass at court.
All the time.
That's why we're so glad you're with us.
Yeah.
Well, we're so excited.
We are. We're so happy to
Very
have
excited.
you. Welcome to the
Thank
team.
you.
Thanks
you
for joining us on the
coming.
podcast today.
We needed some ginger bomb diversity
love it.
on our
Absolutely.
team. Let's have another blonde.
So cheers to our listeners. Cheers to these
yes.
delicious old fashions.
Thank y'all.
And you guys can find us on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, whatever. What's the
Yeah. Podcast on iTunes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be back next week.